Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoimla, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to say the water toward the H.I.M and Akwaf. That's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yah Hanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And Googled the petrodollar collapse accelerating hookup, and came across some decent videos, but this was a really good interview from this guy right here. I think his name is Andy. I'm not sure exactly. I can't pronounce his last name. Be butchering it. But anyway, we're just gonna, this for educational purposes only. Want to just play a little bit of this because the guy's making perfect sense. And really, in reality, these Americans, man, or your local governments, they're not putting the people on game, man, as to what's going on out here. Because this should be something that should be talked about. For real, for real. So let's play a little bit of this interview. It's on the Kitco News, and you can actually pull this up. I pulled it up on YouTube after I found it on Google. But it's entitled Petrodollar Collapse Accelerating in 2024. Let's
including whether the expansion is necessarily a good thing for a coalition that may have more to disagree on. But before we answer that, and I do want to answer that, but before that, flipping the switch, I want to be clear what you think the key moment is. Is it the Saudis taking a step as bold as refusing the dollar for oil, at some point saying we only accept this new common currency? What does that flipping of the switch actually look like?
Look, these BRICS nations wouldn't even have to do something that provocative, although I think they may. They could say one of two things. They could say we're taking other currencies besides dollars, and just that admission alone.
But they've said that. They've practically said that.
They said we're open to it, but they haven't said we're going to. We'll take these 5 or 6 currencies. Or maybe it's more along the lines of they just say to all of the BRICS members, which represent the majority of human population, is that we're going to trade in local currencies, or we're going to trade in gold, or whatever it may be. If the desire or the need to hold U.S. dollars is waning to that degree, or in fact is completely disincentivized, yeah, it creates a massive, massive problem for the U.S. And I think, look, a country that has chosen inflation over austerity the way that we have, a country that is, when you factor in unfunded liabilities, 150 trillion in the hole with 5 trillion in assets, a country that is in essence insolvent, that goes around the word bullying people and doing things in a coercive manner, I think is incentivizing the world to find alternatives. And that's just it, is that, yes, now all people say, well, the dollar and the U.S. bond market is the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry hamper, but I think that's where gold comes into play. I think that's where blockchain technology comes into play.
And that's why I want to get clear on this flipping of the switch, because.
Okay, so you heard him say a few things. Hey, he's giving you some more accurate numbers, I would have to say, because they be talking about $34 trillion in debt and this, that, and this. This man just said 150 trillion. With 5 trillion in assets, whatever the numbers may be, man. Anyway, it's not looking swell for the U.S., man, and they're not letting the people know. And this was a very, very good interview, because he goes off into, I should have left it on the Google site, because they had it already broken down in increments as far as like the cues, where they just had each subject that they was talking about, being spoke. You could just click right into it, right at the minute mark. So, but I'm on YouTube and stuck to, but it was the other phone that I had, so Salakia. But let me just grab a quick scripture before going to the rest of this. I'm just going to get a little bit more, and I'm not going to go too far, because another point that he made at like around the 25-minute mark I thought was pretty telling. Like for real, Okay, so this is no, Salakia, I want to get Ecclesiasticus 25:7. It says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy. On the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And that's what we're witnessing. And all those BRICS nations that's all coming together, you know what I'm saying? It's really just to come up you know, it's prophetic anyway, but they're not gonna be next in line to rule or run anything. You know what I'm saying? Even though they think they are, because see, China would be like your biggest, I would say maybe your biggest economy wise subject in that BRICS thing. You know, and they, you know, of course they thinking that they next in line. They got a lot of projects going on throughout the world. They pretty much taking over Africa, you know, and these countries don't want to deal with America like that, man. And this guy, he's going in the game on it. And that's why I wanted to get to around the 25-minute mark. We play a little bit more. What's the lock here? What just happened? All right, bet.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Ready? Okay. $98 for... I want to get clear on this flipping of the switch, because we are already seeing these currencies, these countries saying we're going to trade in our own currencies and doing so. We're already seeing oil being sold for dirham and for rupees and for rubles and for petro yuan converted into gold. It's already happening. So again, what is that sort of watershed moment that makes that switch flip irreversibly? What is that?
An outright admission, an outright statement from OPEC. We're not taking dollars anymore. I mean, Brazil just applied to OPEC. You have the majority of all of the oil production in the world. If they say we don't want dollars any longer, it creates a very, very, very big problem.
Why would they do that? Why would they say we don't want dollars anymore?
Well, because, I mean, look at what happens if you end up on the wrong side of...
Check out what this guy says. He about to get real raw and gritty, man. He's an American. He goes on to say, hey, look, man, I don't want none of this to happen. I'm worried about my children in the future. I can't even imagine what's gonna happen with my children in the future. But he like, man, shit, I gotta be real, man. Let's play some more.
Of the Western ideology, you can have your assets frozen, and in fact, even in the case of what's now being discussed, is to confiscate those assets and use them to rebuild the Ukraine. Look at what we did to Iraq. We went in there under a false pretense 20 years ago, and we're still occupying their country. They made $90 billion in oil revenue last year. They asked the government this year for $1 billion, and we said no. Really?
But Andy, is moving away from dollars the same as saying we're no longer using dollars? I mean, I can see from the BRICS Plus perspective the incentive to reduce the reliance on the dollar, and as we discussed, the weaponization of it certainly hasn't helped. But why go to the extreme of saying we're not accepting dollars at all?
Okay, so, and she just said a mouthful too. Let's get one more scripture before we allow him to, because he's about to tell the point that I really wanted to get at. But let's get this Psalms, because the whole interview is telling, man. Like Esau, man, people starting to really see this man for who he really is. And he's the man of sin, the son of perdition, man. According to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. This man is out here just terrorizing and bullying every goddamn body. And this guy, he telling it straight up. But this is Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. See? And that's what's happening. They're telling on each other, man. They're telling on themselves. This guy, he's on here full-fledged American. He done been in business. He a successful business at that. Because he's real big into gold and silver. And I think he has a, well, I guess his company, he says he started a company, back in the 90s or some shit like that when, and he borrowed $60,000 from some guy, pretty much a small little pocket corner in a damn building. But yeah, he's done over $10 billion in deals and stuff like that. So he knows his work. He's been doing it. So anyway, let's watch him tell on themselves.
Why go to the extreme of saying we're not accepting dollars at all?
Because I think, Michelle, there's a large portion of the world, much larger portion of the world than is found here in North America, that is tired of 500 years of Western dominance and suppression. And
500 years of Western dominance and suppression. And guess who has been oppressed and suppressed the most out of those 500 years? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites. And actually, we have absolutely no say. No so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know what I'm saying, in control of. We don't have no currency to even be talking about nothing. We don't own no gold. You know, we don't have a military. We don't have anything. We're just subjects in all these different continents. And just being, dominated by these people, man, just paying our taxes and shit. So this guy, he putting on game here.
Coercion. And I think that this is the rallying cry that's bringing everyone to the table. That people want to I think, have the standard of living and not be told how to do things. This rule-based order where we're the ones setting the rules and everyone else has to follow by them. And when you see the way all of these countries are pushing back against the West and our ideological viewpoints maybe don't mesh so well with a large portion of the world, but a lot of these countries who may have felt this way haven't had the ability to do this in and of themselves on their own. Like a country like Venezuela, who has the largest known oil reserves in the world, they just formally applied to BRICS. So you find safety in numbers, and I think that's kind of what it is. This is our shot to have the life that we want and to do it under our terms. And they are finding safety in numbers, I believe. So not to mention that, I mean, look at it this way. Why would you want to sell your oil for dollars, a currency that is being inflated away, literally, as we sit here and watch it literally lose value precipitously? Why would they want to do that and then reinvest them into treasuries that have been a disaster? And then if you don't do what they tell you to do, or you end up doing something to defend in your mind your own interests, your own political or rather your own border interests or your safety interests, whatever it is. And I'm not, this isn't about, what Putin did was right or wrong or what Iraq did was right or wrong. These are sovereign countries that are deciding to do what they want to do. And if it falls on the wrong side, well, you're going to get your assets frozen. You're going to get kicked out of SWIFT. You're going to become blacklisted. And I think that is really resonating with a lot of countries around the globe.
On the safety.
Okay. So that's the point. Okay, but yeah, you get the point there, man. He pretty much told you that, hey, they're in control. They're the ones that's running the world, man. They're the ones that's running the earth. This is Job 9:24. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And see, Esau here in the Americas, they're being ran by, Amalek, of course, you know what I'm saying, the top tribe of the Edomites, which are those people that's over there in Israel overall, you know what I'm saying? But, these Edomites, man, here have been dominating for quite some time, in the past 500 years. And again, we've been in captivity to them for the past 500 years. So guess what? The Lord is starting to break this place down, man, and chop it all up and bust them all down. And then all of a sudden it's going to be, because, he goes on to speak on the digital currency hookup too in the end of this video as well. So he goes into that pretty nice. And the lady that's interviewing, she basically like, they don't want the government pretty much knowing their every move. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them knowing my every purchase. I don't want them knowing exactly where I'm at all times of the day. So they understand that this is going off into Revelation 13, going all off into that Beauty and the Beast, man. So this is why we do these lessons, man, so we can warn our people. Hey, you got to get ready, man, because ain't no telling what they're about to do. If this really about to go down, because they didn't re-up that, they didn't re-up on the petrodollar hookup, for it's been 50 years. That lease or that deal is up and they didn't renew it. So now you got all these countries, like Saudi Arabia, pretty much they kind of played the U.S. in a sense because they got all the weapons that they needed. They got all the protection that they needed. You know what I'm saying? They came up and they pretty much set and straight to go. They don't need the U.S. like that no more. So you just never know what they're going to do. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. You just never know what Esau going to do. This could be your real start or real click into World War III. You know what I'm saying? Because, generally. And this guy, actually, he mentioned Saddam Hussein, and he mentioned Gaddafi. He said, you see what happened to them when they tried it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, shit. So it's a lot of game in this particular video, man, this interview. But, yeah, man, ain't no telling what's about to happen. No telling. Because Esau, man, when things like that go, and they'll find a way, man. You know what I'm saying? They get to knocking people off, but it's too many of these nations, man, that's coming up against America. Them BRICS, they deep, man. They deep now. I'm not sure how many, but they calling it BRICS plus now. Shit, they got 20 more countries, I think, joined, and there's 20 more applicants that want to join. So, and this man made a good point about wanting to get away from Esau Edom system, man. You know what I'm saying? Or the American Western system, because they're greedy as hell. They greedy, man. Nobody can flourish, man. Nobody can, it's just all miserable. And you got all these resources on the planet, all this money out here. I mean, it's far more than enough for everybody and some. But this man, he wants to hoard it all, and people sick of that shit, man. Anyway, this is Revelation 13, verse 16. Let's start there. And he calls it for all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to do anything. This is what it's all boiling down to. And the elder, he put it beautifully too, out of New York, because he was like, all these people are in the bag together, man. Don't think that Saudi Arabia and China and Russia and Ukraine, all these countries, man, all these nations, they're gonna want to have their citizens in line. What country, what a king, president, or whatever the case, what country wouldn't want all their because they look at you like subjects anyway. What country wouldn't want to have total control over the population if they, I mean, it's just common sense. And as greedy as these people are, come on, that's going to be all nations. So, you got these, it's seeming like it's some separation there, but overall, the number one major goal, as far as the elite anyway, the number one major goal as far as the elite is New World Order, man. They want to have the entire population, implanted and moving along to their tune. It just is what it is, man. And this is how close we're getting to it. Now, this is Revelation 14:9. And it says in the third angel. Now, this is what's going to pop off if you take anything like this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to stay away from this. But it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And you don't want no parts of what this man is about to bring, man. You want to be totally dependent upon Yahweh H.I.M Yahushai. First off, you have to repent to the Father Yahweh in the name of his son Yahushai, man, and got to get rid of those works of darkness, like Romans 13:11-12 say. This is also Revelation. Well, this is Revelation 16:2. Let's get this one as well. It says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So, man, ain't no telling what kind of sores them gonna be. The shit growing all out of your skin, big ass pus poppers, man. Nah, man, you don't want no parts of this, man. And the scriptures talks about envying thou not the oppressor and choosing none of his ways, and that's a real problem with our people. Our people, you know what I'm saying? Jake really just want to be American. They don't wherever they are, they just okay with it. They don't consider or think like, hey, we're royalty and that we're going back into our kingdom and we're going to rule over these people. There's not going to be no damn talks, no BRICS or no who's running the world next. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be Israel, man. We got next. Okay, this is Romans 13:11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. The night is far spent. The day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. You can't do that unless you repent to the Father Yahweh in the name of his son Yahushua. And this is for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You are the Hebrew Israelites. See, the reason why you don't have no say as a people, we don't have no say in nothing that these people are doing. Think about that. You might see one of these, these them Hamites, or South Africans or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or just Africans in general. But they're Hamites. We're not Hamites. We're Shemites. You'll see them involved because they're part of BRICS too. But when it comes to us as a people, we're just people that just go to work every day. They take money out of our check and taxes. They send that shit to military wars and whatever else they want to do with it. We don't have no say in nothing. We don't have no say in none of that shit. We can't say, no, I don't want you taking money out of my check, man. I don't agree with what you're doing with it. We don't have no say like that, man. You see? But this is a very dope interview, man. But let me see, though. Might be able to get to the end of a little bit of this. Well, let's just let it play just a little bit more.
See, in numbers, the flip side of that, Andy, is a bigger alliance makes it harder to come to unity. It makes it harder for the BRICS group to have cohesion in ideology and decisions. I mean, some of the members in the group already aren't exactly ideologically aligned or already have a lot of geopolitical conflict areas. India and China, for example, they're not on the same page on a number of issues. They've got border disputes, trade.
Okay, yeah, I remember that part of the interview. She's basically like, okay, well, you got all these countries and, all these different nations, can they get along? Can they agree? Who's going to want to, take the most charge? You know what I'm saying? And it would make sense that China would, you know what I'm saying? Because I think their economy, but the way that they're talking about it is, everybody is pretty much going to be able to put in what they're going to put in. And I think that's how he goes off to speaking on. Let me see. Let's get down here some. He gets to talking about and speaking on commodities.
On right now. Well, and two more things, really. One being, yeah, you're right. It did hit all-time highs on GLD. It did hit all-time highs on the London Metals Exchange, and yet it's completely zero hype globally about it, or at least in North America.
Slovakia. They got the BRICS, common currency, response to the de-dollarization. Let's try some of this part.
So I do get that point. Also, just to clarify, the executive order signed by Biden regarding a central bank digital currency, it is to actively look at one, explore one. It has not yet been approved. And viewers of Kitco know that I'm very much against a central bank digital currency and like to keep our viewers updated with all of the efforts to push against it. Although, who knows, they may be futile, but there has been some resistance, at least from the Republican side, with regards to a central bank digital currency, which again, as a reminder to our viewers, is programmable fiat currency, which allows the government to see every single transaction made. There's zero anonymity, there's zero privacy, and the currency is programmable, allowing whoever's programming it to decide what transactions can and cannot be put through. And it also allows for, I guess you could say, fine-tuning monetary and fiscal policy.
Yep, and again, that's that, hey, that's them telling on themselves. See, she just feeling like I'm just a citizen, I'm not involved, I don't have anything to do with it. But if she's an Edomite, the guilt is just on them as a nation of people, But there's a lot of Edomites that's going to be against this, you know what I'm saying? But Edomites as a whole, this is their system, this is their kingdom, you know what I'm saying? And they're all going into captivity
by, the click of a button. But I want to take it back, Andy, to the idea of the commodity-backed currency. Because back to the BRICS, you ultimately think that that is still the goal and that is still on track. Do you have an approximate timeline for that? Is that something we could hear in earnest at this meeting in Russia later this year?
It certainly is. I mean, look, even the West acknowledges that. I mean, Kristalina Georgieva, the head of the IMF, in the report they wrote right around the time that you and I had our interview in Vancouver, gold a barbarous relic, or gold an international reserve currency, barbarous relic no more, something to that extent. And then she came out a few months ago and said any central bank digital currency not pegged to something is fiat. Well, what would it be pegged to? And when you talk about Could this happen in October in Russia? Sure, it could. Absolutely. And I think the way that they would do it, because see, President de Gaulle, who drained a good portion of the gold from our treasury in 1970, 1971, proved that convertible currencies convert. So what blockchain does is allow the immutability and the veracity of which each country pegs to be there without having it convertible. In other words, maybe you...
Okay, that's enough on it, but you get the point. It's the talks of it, man. Do you know when you start to hear? I mean, hey, the Lord said to let me get that real quick. I can end out there. 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." And there's going to be some uproars of the people, and it's all kinds of earthquakes going on. That's without saying. But it's going to be a lot of uproars of the people when shit like that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because when that dollar shut down, man, and people, it's like, they wake up one morning and all of a sudden their bank accounts is empty and this happened or that. All they got to do is claim a blackout. All they got to do is say we were hit with by a hacking system from Russia or whatever the case may be. But there's going to be a lot of uproars of the people in this place, man. And this place is through. It's so through. It's so much shit going on. You got the Hunter Biden hookup. This motherfucker just got found guilty on the gun and crack charges or whatever. You got your one president that he got 34 counts. And the people of the world is just laughing at this place, man. It's really through. There's no coming back from it, man. Esau really believe if they go and vote for Trump, Trump's gonna build back. He's gonna make America great again, and it's not gonna happen, man. Joe Biden is not gonna build back better. That dude can barely walk, and if you get he can barely speak. This dude is not there, man. If he get another 4 years, y'all through. But it don't make no difference. I'm rooting for the one that's gonna tear the place on up. Let's so we can go ahead and get down, man. Get to the point of this thing and get the hell out of here, man. Because we need out of Esau's kingdom. Because again, we don't have no say in nothing. And that goes off into, matter of fact, 2nd Esdras chapter 6. And that's something that Esdras, he mentioned. He says, yeah, I'm gonna have to get it all. Let me start at verse 54. "And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen." So all people come of Adam, but the Lord chose a people out of all the nations that he created, and he chose Israel, which are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Verse 55, it says, "All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake." So see, the world was actually made for the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but we don't have no part in it. It says, "As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel." So the Lord is like, man, these people are nothing to me. My inheritance, my portion of, what I wanted out of the nations I created, my favorite is Israel. And it goes on to say, "And now, O Lord, behold," this is the point that I wanted to get. "And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have been ever reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and devour us." Because the guy said, he didn't mention us, you know what I'm saying? But he kind of mentioned the world in general, you know what I'm saying? As far as being oppressed for 500 years, this reign of America. But out of all the nations that have been the oppressed, the most out of Esau is the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because they have become lords over us. They've been lords over us for 500 years, man. Shit. It says, "And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have been always reputed as nothing, have begun to rule over us and devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called by thy first name," O Salakia, "but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands." Who was we given? The Lord gave us into the hands of these people for disobedience. But now we know good and evil now, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So once we go into our kingdom, hey man, we're gonna rule. They same way we've been under them, and we had to go by their rules and regulations. They're gonna have to do the same in our kingdom, man. And we gonna put it on their asses just like they put it on us, except it's gonna be double. Verse 59, it says, if the world now be made for our sake, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? So he was asking a question, because we don't possess no inheritance in this world. Like I said again, we just get up, man, and shit go punch in, And a lot of white people, they can say, well, we do the same. Well, hey, that's y'all. You know what I'm saying? Your own people got all hoarding all the shit. If you doing bad, then you just a two-time loser, as the brothers would say. You losing in your own kingdom. We're losing from the standpoint of we're not in rulership of anything, man. We don't have anything. We don't have no say in nothing. We just here and we're just paying taxes, man. Matter of fact, can't even say paying taxes. They taking the damn taxes, right? But anyway, I just wanted to touch on this real quick. And again, you can go off into this interview because they was actually going off into and I want to check out some more of these interviews too. I want to check out some more things on some of these with this man. It's Petrodollar or whatever, because they sure enough didn't renew that shit, man. And that's going to make a huge difference. If these BRICS nations get together and say, no, we don't want to deal with the dollar no more. We're just going to deal with our money. What do you think is going to happen? All the money that you niggas be having to the side of your face in a video, all that shit coming back to the Americas. And guess what? It's going to be shit paper, toilet paper. It's going to be useless. It's going to be useless, man. And so only thing Esau really can do from there is just go ahead and implement that digital hookup, man, and try and, he's going to pull that chip process with your ass, man. That's all it's leading up to. So with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwame Yashala.